thing out of the way. All right. All right, where are you guys? There you are. Let me pin myself. All right, guys, welcome to Power Hour. Let's go. How we doing this morning? I don't hear nobody.
Hello?
Hello, Billy Bush. How's it going, guys? Good morning. Let's go. Come on, wake up. Monday. All right. I'm back on my thing here. I pulled another all-nighter. Back. Wilkinson is back. Okay, wakey, wakey. Come on, let's roll. All right, guys, welcome. Welcome, Ron. Coming in out of California. Dan, you're looking more awake than you have been the past 2 weeks. Good to see you. Welcome back, buddy. Welcome back, Mr. Cotter. AJ, good morning. Nobel, Justin, Sam, Rocio, Haley, Brian, Mr. Brian May. Good to see you. Let's go. Let's go, guys. Monday, February 23rd. We're recording. Welcome to Power Hour. What do we do on Mondays?
Recommit.
We recommit, man. We've got to recommit. We can't be like the poor and timid souls out there. We got to recommit to what we're doing. The weekend will get into you. Last week's machinations and problems will get into you. It'll bang with your head. You watch a stupid and your head's all screwed up. You got to get back in the game, recommit to what you're doing. Recommitting is incredibly important because you're going to recommit to being a CEO, not a bitch. What if you bitched out last week? Well, we're going to recommit to getting back on track, right? We're constantly course correcting. Nobody's perfect. The only people that are perfect are the morons on Instagram. Those are the only guys that know everything. Okay? The men that are actually in the trenches, we make mistakes. We're not perfect. We're going to go through peaks and valleys. So we have to recommit on a Monday to get back on the horse and stop being such a bitch. Right? You guys bitched out last week. I know some of you did. You bitched out. There was shit you're supposed to do you didn't do. There was strategy you're supposed to execute you didn't. There was fear that crippled you from making the right decisions that you're supposed to do. You didn't keep your word. You stiffed the fucking guy. You held him out. Whatever it is. I know you did it. Welcome to planet Earth. You're a human being. We're going to recommit to excellence today, right? Who's with me on this? I see foreheads. I see crotches. The fuck? There we go. Now I see it some fists. Okay, I see Dan. He's at his office. Okay, AJ's giving me the fist. Nobel, let's go, player. Let's go, warfighter. Justin Sherman, let's go. Sam, what are you doing? Wake up. Out of Houston, Texas. Brian, let's go, bud. Good to see you. Good morning. Come on. New life today, guys. New life. February 23rd. New life for you. If you want it to be. Whole new path and avenue for you of performance, if you want it to be. If you commit to it and recommit to it. Or you could be a poor and timid soul. What do you think? No. We're going to be champions, right? What a beautiful game we saw last night. USA Hockey. Give these guys a hand. USA Hockey. Okay? The guy saying he's proud to be American. It's for America. The white boys. Hard as nails. Lost his fucking teeth. Not like that queer over doing the snowboarding. That faggot. What did he have to say? Oh, a bunch of shit. Very inspiring, was it? Lesson learned from that yesterday, wasn't it? Could play Canada 100 times, lose 99. What matters is you win when it matters. Right? Get back up. Get back up. Play again. Get back up. Play again. Focus and lock in when it matters. We only get paid where? Under the what?
Lights.
Under the lights. We only get paid under the lights, guys. Right? So when we have to perform, we've got to lock in and focus. Just like those boys did yesterday. Maybe we'll get lucky and put one in a 5-hole. Okay? The more we lock in, the more we do, the more opportunity we're going to have to get lucky. So let's recommit to that. Let's recommit to being serious-minded and focused individuals. We all have massive responsibilities. We got families. We got obligations. to our company. Isn't that right? We're at the helm. You want to, listen, you guys get on an airplane, you see an old white guy, you can tell he was a Navy pilot, you feel good. You go, whew, thank God. You see a pink-haired bitch, barista, you want to get off the fucking plane. Right? Serious-minded individuals bring authority and altitude. Right? And that's what we need to bring to our businesses. And we need to reflect that by leading from the front by example, because we got a bunch of employees and people that are relying on us, that need to buy in, that we need to squeeze all the juice out of, get their best performance. Right? We can't do that by being lazy sacks of shit, fucked up self-concepts and self-confidence, and not recommitting to the mission and what we're doing. Okay? By the way, I think I'm streaming on YouTube. They're probably going to ban my thing because this is how I talk, and you're not allowed to talk like an American on YouTube, I think. Or a grown man. I don't know. Okay, guys. All right, so we're recommitting. Now, I want to get into something today. Since it's Monday, most of you guys are going to have project manager meetings today. You're going to have office meetings. You're going to have meetings with your staff. And so I want to get you aligned for that. I know a bunch of you guys got project manager meetings on Mondays. You got staff meetings. I got to get you in that mindset to do that this morning, okay? Now, most people confuse being liked with being effective, okay? And Tough-Minded Management, which is the best management book ever written by Batten, not this gay shit that you got out here now by Maxwell and these jerk-offs. Okay, written in the 60s by a tough motherfucker. It's called Tough-Minded Management. It's about results, not feelings. You got to crack a few eggs to make an omelet, guys. As a leader, you're not going to be liked always. You can't please everybody, but you got to be responsible, be a steward of the business, and make the right decisions. That's what matters. Who gives a shit if they like it or not? Who gives a shit if they like you, want to go to dinner with you? It doesn't matter. None of this shit matters when you're an entrepreneur. What matters is the growth of the business and the money in the bank account and the clients being serviced. I can't cash those good feelings of employees. I can only cash effective work and discipline and leading my people. The tail's got to stop wagging the dog. The culture of your company does not come from the ground up. It comes from the top down. And many of you guys want to be liked and you want to be friends and buddies with the people that work for you. They end up owning the goddamn company. Because you're walking on eggshells, you can't tell them what to do, you're afraid, etc., etc. Then who really owns the show? You get to pay all the bills, you get to take all the risk and pay the payroll, and you don't get the organization that you took a risk in creating. It's madness. You go right out the door and go work somewhere else. Okay, this idea that we need to keep people around that are not congruent with our culture, not congruent, and see the vision that we see. The idea that we need to keep them around is madness, dude. This isn't Russia. You don't like it, you can go somewhere else. And if I don't like you, I don't need to have you here. Right? You are looking to create a team and a culture, and all you need is a handful. You only need a handful, and that's for a big organization. Right? I understand that we have to field the team every day, and we don't have a team of Aaron Judges. And so we're going to have to field the team, and we got to put some bodies out there, etc. That's why we always need to be recruiting. Right? That leg of the stool. But most people and entrepreneurs are confusing being liked with being effective. And that's a big problem. Okay? Because most leaders today are emotionally soft. They're strategically unclear because they're emotionally soft. They can't look in the mirror. They can't look in the direction and face the demons. They don't want to look at what reality is. They want to live somewhere else. So because of that, they never really get a clear strategy. There never is a real clear game plan. Right? They're focused on something else and living in this false world or just screwed up information that they've been given. Haven't had access to entrepreneurs that actually are successful in their field, especially contracting. okay, for software and whatever these homos are doing, that might be different. You got to be a lovey-dovey guy and you got to have timeout rooms or some shit like that. That is not going to work in construction. They're strategically unclear and they're allergic to accountability. That is the new age management, okay? We cannot be lulled to sleep by doing that. Everyone here knows that, okay? And has felt the pain and the burden. But you guys all got meetings today, okay? So I'm going to be talking about management to get you in that mindset and get ready to go. Management is about performance, not busyness, not effort, not excuses, performance, accomplishment. Thinking is not accomplishment unless we're thinking about a strategy moving towards a goal. When we have work product that needs to be done, your people have work product. Activity is not accomplishment. Accomplishment is accomplishment. Execution is accomplishment. The hardest thing in the world to do. The thing, we've talked about that ad nauseum in this group. 99% of contractors are going to stay little pea shooter contractors. There's going to be 1% that actually do something about it. That's the 1% that's willing to go through the pain, the identity growth, and everything that's required to execute. The other ones are all going to want an emotional uplift. Okay? We can't do that. Okay? We're never going to achieve our goals if we stay in that 99 percentile. Okay? And you all know that. My question for you guys is, are you measuring output or are you praising effort? I notice there's a lot of effort praising that's going on, kind of like an attaboy type of deal. Even an attaboy is only something you give after the guy's accomplished it. But like midway, praising people, their effort, are you actually measuring the output of your people? Or are you just praising effort? I want you to think about that today when you go into these meetings. Okay, you guys have to lead from the front. Now, okay, sorry. I don't know, I just got a stupid kind of from a jerk off. Okay, let's see. I love it how assholes who have no money, don't do anything, never ran a business, tell me I'm wrong about something. It's like you are a chronic masturbator in your mom's basement. You have $2,000 to your name. You shouldn't even be able to look at me, you fucking faggot. Okay, let me get back to this. Are you measuring output or are you praising effort? Do you reward comfort or do you reward results? Okay? Something to think about. The kind of fucking mindset you got to get into because you guys are going to have these meetings today. Another question I want you guys to think about and rattle around in your fucking head is, if I removed your title as the entrepreneur, founder, or CEO, all of you guys here, if I removed your title, would your results speak for themselves? That's a brutal one. If we stripped you of your title, would your results still speak? Would I know your title based on your results? The work you're doing, the accomplishments you're making, how you're handling and conducting yourself. I'm going to let that land for a second. Okay, because that's that thing that nobody wants to look at. That's the pain, right? Because all of us could be ratcheting it up, can't we? I'm speaking to you, I'm speaking to me. Like, if you looked at yourself as a CEO, are you making CEO decisions? Are you a steward of the company? Are you leading from the front? Are you letting fear cloud your judgment? Are you significantly lacking in one leg of the stool that would show somebody that you really don't have control over this thing? You may not be the CEO. You might be a vice president. You're pushing the business forward. If we removed your title, would your results still speak? Okay? Now, the thing to remember about performance as you guys are going into these meetings this morning is that performance isn't just individual, it's cultural. Okay? Building a culture of performance, meaning making accomplishments a hierarchy in the business. That's what gets rewarded. Those are the people that get the attention. That is what you're constantly talking about. That is what the focus is always on, right? Eldor, there is a culture of performance. Like, you want to be performing. You want to be in that club of ultra performance. You're going to get forced to jump and get into the weeds. You're going to be forced to be overprepared. You're going to start showing up early. You're going to stay later because that's the dominant culture. The people that do that are the ones that get ahead. They're the ones that get praised. They get the goodies. They get the benefits. They get the bonuses. They get the money. They get the attaboys. You're not going to get an attaboy for effort. Okay? I don't know. Some guy's calling me a left wing. I couldn't be further from a left wing guy. I don't know. Must be a trans. He's probably going to shoot up a place next. Okay, let me ask you guys this question. Do people in your environment tell the truth? It's a good question. Because what we should be doing is we should be truth tellers. We're not doing anybody any good on our team if we don't tell them the truth. If we don't tell them the truth about their performance. Now, you can season with salt. You don't have to kick a door in and say, this is what your problem is. But if we're not telling people the truth, then we're not helping them. And we've got to cultivate our people to make them grow, to get better, to build the team. Where, we can't be beating down our people. Right? We've got to uplift them. That's why this whole leading from the front, leading by example, showing people what's possible, etc., is so incredibly important. You can't lead from the back. That's a tail wagging the dog. You got to lead from the front. When you are in a management position or a CEO, you're really more in a service position than you've ever been. Your job is to serve these people. And the way to serve them is by leading them. The way to serve them is by you showing and proving, making hard decisions, pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. Okay? Swallowing the fear, taking the meetings that you wouldn't take or you don't want to or you're afraid of doing, the calls, the decisions you have to make, etc., etc. Being a stand-up person, keeping your word, whatever it is. Okay? That is going to expand you because you got an audience. Okay? They're going to follow that example. You're forced to be in this uncomfortable situation and constantly growing. You're serving these people to show them what's possible so they don't have to feel for the light switch in the dark. Okay? So are we telling the people the truth in our environment? Or do we hold our tongue and we don't tell them the truth and then we pray and hope that they get better and things are going to change? That's purgatory. That's the tail wagging the dog. Okay? Can someone disagree with you in your organization without punishment? Okay? The answer to that question, people should be able to disagree with you and opine. They shouldn't disrespect you or be unprofessional. But some CEOs and entrepreneurs will hold that against people. Some of you guys in this group, I know. A guy pushes back, he asks a question, he disagrees with you, it fucking ticks you off. And then you start treating that guy differently. And you start making inroads for him to exit. Not a good play. Okay? It's not really a dictatorship. Okay? We're trying to cultivate a team and a culture here. Okay? So can someone disagree with you in these meetings without punishment? The answer to that question should be a resounding yes. You can push back. You can disagree. Because in an open marketplace of ideas, may the best idea win. And maybe they have a bead or they have video on something that you don't that is actually the best course of action. That only benefits you because that's going to lead to accomplishment. We don't want resentment. We want accomplishment. Okay? Next question. These meetings you guys are going to have today, do the meetings produce decisions or are they just dialogue? Are they perfunctory? Are we going through the motions to go through the motions and have meetings because we're supposed to? Because Marshall says we're supposed to. I got to have some understanding of what's going on, what jobs are live, et cetera, et cetera. Are we having these meetings to produce decisions and tasks for accomplishment? Or are they just dialogue? Okay? Something to ask, it's a question to ask yourself. Because we need to have meetings to produce decisions. produce new ideas, for everybody to get on the same page, to produce to-do tasks, to understand what victory looks like, okay, and to set a standard and a tone and a deadline for accomplishing the solutions here, accomplishing the things. This is where accountability comes into play. Because at the next meeting, this is what we were supposed to do. It wasn't done. We have an accountability factor baked in. We're not just having these meetings for our health. Okay? So really, fear of some of these things kills our productivity. But candor and truth fuels it. I'm going to say it again. Fear kills productivity in your people. When you're afraid to tell them the truth, when you're afraid to make these meetings actual meetings where decisions are supposed to be made, accountability is supposed to be set, etc., etc. The fear of doing that is going to kill your productivity. But telling the truth and candor is going to fuel your productivity. Okay? That's showing leadership. That is showing to the people that there is a person at the helm of this ship, serious-minded, ready to rock. They can lean on this person. They can have open dialogue because now we're building a culture and an environment of solutions to push something forward together as a team. And everyone can participate in that. And they can get their attaboys and they can be rewarded, and you're starting to build a culture of accomplishment and performance rather than a culture of, I have to do this. This is just part of the job. I got to show up to this thing. How many of you guys know employees that do that? Oh, I have to do it. It's a part of the job. It's whatever, and they hate it. That's a terrible fucking employee. That's not somebody you want working for you. That's a guy working for the city of New York. Okay? That's a guy working at Amazon fucking warehouse shit. Okay? That's not a high-performing team that you're putting together if that mentality's there. Well, that mentality's there because those organizations are letting that happen. It's also a reflection of where on the ladder, what rung on the ladder that person is actually standing on as well. So pressure, this type of pressured environment for performance, does not mean intimidation to your people. It doesn't mean punishment. All the pressure means is clarity and responsibility. And God forbid you come to work and have to be responsible for your roles, responsibilities, and tasks you're supposed to do. God forbid. Okay? So remember, when people are confused, they underperform. Which is why we talk about in contractor school getting very specific with the roles and responsibilities of each person. Because within that conduit, within those guardrails, they know what they need to do and they can perform top level when they have guardrails. When their responsibilities are everything in an amorphous blob, a person cannot focus their work in direction. But when they know that I do this, this, and that, and anything outside of that I pass on to this guy, they can keep the dishes out of the sink. They can keep their house clean. And that's what you want, because that's performance. So if people are confused, they're going to underperform. And this is a huge problem with contractors because you don't have enough people and you've got everybody in a hybrid role. And when you have everybody in a hybrid role, you are fostering this environment of everybody does a little bit of everything. And because everybody does a little bit of everything, all the lines are blurred. And we can't really be that great at one particular thing. Okay? In the beginning, when you're getting the plane in the air, I get that. It's all hands on deck, but we're only talking about one or two people at that point. Once we start adding staff, we've got to start delineating roles and responsibilities, because if these people are confused about what they're really supposed to be doing, they're going to underperform, like all of your project managers are. Because they're running a hybrid role and they are confused. They don't really know what you're expecting from them. And they're going to lean on the thing that they've been doing for 30 years, which is being a guy in the field. They're way more comfortable with that, so they're always going to go back to the tools, which is not the role of a project manager. And so you're going to be pissed at your project manager all the time, Okay, and I'm speaking through the contracting lens, even though we got some people in here that aren't contractors. You're going to be looking at him through that lens, and he ain't wearing those glasses. And that's because he's confused, and because he's confused, he's going to underperform. And then when people underperform and they know it, what happens? They get scared. And when people get scared, what do? They hide. They're going to hide from you. They're going to spend as much time as they can out of the office. They're going to not answer your call and call you back 2 hours later. Why are they doing that? Because they're super busy? Why are you super busy? Well, I was putting together a staircase. Why were you doing that? It's not your job. Right? They're hiding from you because they're scared, because they know they're and they're underperforming because they're confused, because we've not put guardrails on them and delineated the role and responsibilities that they're supposed to have. And then when we do that, there is going to be points in their game that's going to be weak. And it is up to us as leaders to give them the tools that they need in order to perform those tasks. If they need education, we got to give it to them. If they need training, we got to give it to them. If they need a certain program in a software, we got to give it to them. If we have it and they're not using it, we got to hold them accountable. They've got to face the demons just as much as you face the demons every single day. It's only going to make them better and perform better, and they will feel better about themselves, and they won't be scared, and they won't hide from you anymore. Okay? High-performance environments are very direct. They're very honest, and they're outcome-driven. If there is subterfuge and we're not direct and nobody is clear about anything, we're not going to have any performance. If everything is a fucking... a word, salad of some, fucking bullshit Bill Clinton style political talk, never answer the question. If we're not direct, we're fucked. If we're not honest, we're fucked. All of us, not just the perspective of the CEO, they are too. They're never going to move up in the business. They're never going to be able to make more money. They're never going to actually feel great about finding their potential. Because all of us have businesses where we are ready to elevate people. We need them as partners. And they will get a piece of the benefit. But we don't have an organization where we're direct. We don't have an honest organization. And we're not necessarily outcome driven. You're thinking that you're outcome driven, but you're not. You're not really outcome driven. We're letting things slide that we shouldn't. And if we look at things in a silo, they're not a big deal. But when we look at them holistically, we're getting bitten to death by a duck. We cannot allow that anymore February 23rd, 2026 in the business. Remember, we're recommitting to all the shit that we knew we were supposed to do that we didn't do. We're recommitting to being reborn to be the best we could possibly be today. Okay? That's why we're getting into this. All of you guys got meetings. We're all recommitting. Who gives a shit about the past? It's over and it's gone. It's about how we pick it up today. How are we going to win today's game? Okay? We want to win when it matters. I think that most people don't fail because they're lazy inside of an organization. I'm talking about inside of the organization. I don't think they fail because they're lazy. I think that they fail because they're vague, and things are vague. There are vague goals out there, and vague goals are going to produce vague lives. Okay? When people are feeling good about what they're doing and they're making positive progress, they're not lazy. Okay? They're lazy when they have no hope, when they have no opportunity, when they don't feel like they're making positive progress. That's when they get negative, and that's when they get lazy. I don't think people are just inherently lazy. I think that there's an issue there. The laziness that is a symptom of a group that exists in the environment. So your people aren't failing because they're lazy or whatever. They're failing because I think things might be a little bit too vague. Like I said before, we're not being direct, honest, and outcome driven. Now, when I say direct, honest, and outcome driven, I don't want you to think of the pejorative that our society and culture has made you think when I say those words. You can be direct to a person without cussing them out. You could be direct to a person while being loving. You could be direct with a person while being persuasive. You could be honest with a person while being loving. You could be honest with a person while being professional. You don't have to be a psycho, savage. But we got to have some clear conversation. We've got to define the terms, otherwise we can't. What are we talking about? We can't come to a solution if we don't define the terms, right? Anybody that's ever been in a debate club knows that that's number one. We need to have a definition of the terms that we're talking about, so we've got a baseline that we all are on the same page on. Okay? So tough-minded planning includes the following. Clear objectives. How clear are you guys on the objectives that need to be done today and done this week? How clear are you on it? Or are you vague? Is it fuzzy? What do you need to get done this week as it relates to the 5 legs of the stool? How are we moving the strategy, the vision that you have for this business forward? How are we going to utilize the team that we have in order to do that? How are we going to be more effective and efficient, have efficacy in what we're doing, mate? We need clear objectives. Now, if we have clear objectives, then we're going to need time frames because everything needs a deadline. It can't languish, right? We need time frames of when things need to get done, which means what? We need organization. We need a clear objective. That requires you getting organized and thinking about it and getting serious. We need time frames. That starts making it a little bit more organized, makes it real, and it bakes in an accountability factor. Okay? And we need ownership. Who owns these tasks? Whose job is it for these tasks? Or are we just going to leave it up in the air? We'll talk about it tomorrow. Text me later. We'll figure it out. And then what about measurement? Okay? How are we measuring that what we accomplished was actually accomplished accurately? Not just the end work product was accurately done, but we need to measure how it was done and in what time frame it was done and what resources we had to use and expend in order to complete this thing. We've got to measure the process. If we're not measuring the process, then we have no idea where we can get better, how we can get more efficient. If we're spending too much time or spending too much resources on it, just because we got the thing done doesn't necessarily mean that we did it like the best way we could have, or even the way it should have been done. Did it kill the guy? Did it take heroics for this person to accomplish this task? Well, that's not good because that's not duplicatable. We can't repeat that if it takes heroics to do something, right? That can't be a part of a system because it's not duplicatable, and then that thing is solely reliant upon the heroics of that person. We lose that person, then what? We onboard new people, they don't have the heroic bone that this guy has, and what? Our business dies, right? So clear objectives, time frames, ownership, and the measurement of these things. Okay, next. I still have a few minutes here. Okay? Deception is going to destroy your business. And you know, many of us are being deceptive. We're deceiving ourselves. We're deceiving our people. We're lying to ourselves about the things that we know we're supposed to be doing, we're not doing. That's a deception. Okay? Believing that things are going to change and move forward without XYZ happening or without confronting XY, that's deceiving yourself. Okay? It's devilish. Deception destroys organizations. Okay? Sandbagging numbers is deception. Hiding mistakes is deception. Pretending progress is deception. We'll fix it next month. That's deception. Self-deception is the most expensive line item in your life. So if you have self-deception, your people have self-deception. And because they care about their survival and self-deception, what do you think is going to happen in these meetings? They're going to hide their mistakes from you, aren't they? You're not going to get the clear picture. They're going to pretend to be doing progress and making progress on something, and they're really not. Everybody on this call is experiencing, especially the contractors, especially when you're dealing with project managers. right? There's deception there, okay? So we're talking really about the integrity of us, ourselves, and our people. Well, that's not a moral, fluffy type of thing. That's an operational thing. It's an operational efficiency. If you can't tell the truth about where you are, then you can't improve. And if we don't have an honest culture, we are going to have deception in the organization. And all of us have paid the price for deception. Project manager knew about a thing. Somebody in the organization knew about a thing for 2 or 3 weeks, and they didn't tell us, and then they tell us only when the grenade blows up. Well, we could have prepared for it 2 or 3 weeks ago, but you didn't tell me, but you knew it, so you sat in these meetings and you deceived me. Right? Because we don't have an organization of truthfulness and honesty. Okay? In order to do that, we've got to cultivate this. In order to have that, like I said, we've got to have honest conversations where people can speak up, where people can say, hey, I dropped the ball on this. I screwed the pooch. My bad. And here's how we're going to fix it. Without being berated, without being punished. Okay? You want them to be open with you. You want them to be able to tell you the truth without being punished. You're going to have to come up and help them come up with a solution calmly and move forward. Okay? Which is going to require you being a genuine article, man. It's going to require you being the genuine article and actually knowing what you're doing. Because they're going to be coming to you for a solution. Creating this honest culture is very important. Okay? Fear and ego are what create deception. Okay? Well, we got to strip these people of their ego. Okay? You got to strip these guys of their ego. We're all on the same team here, going for the same thing. We know what victory looks like. I need you as a teammate, and you got to strip them of their ego. The next thing is the fear, and what are they afraid of? They're afraid of punishment, and they're afraid of the ego deal. But if we strip them of the ego, the only fear that they're going to have is that you're going to think shitty things about them, etc., etc., and you got to let them know by example that's not true. I appreciate you telling me the truth. I appreciate you coming to me with this. We all drop the ball sometimes. You got a lot on your plate. Let me help you figure it out. And then let's get back on track with a solution. And then a deadline, a timeline to turn this thing around before this thing blows up in our face, all right? I'm with you on the same team. That's leadership. Okay? That's going to take courage on your part. See, everything comes back to you, the operator. You constantly having to grow. You herding cats, you being the father of this family, having to deal with the kids and their shit. All the stuff you want gets put on the back burner. And you're making that trade because you're looking for the reward. So just make sure it's worth it and make sure you get the reward. Okay, next thing. Courage without logic is recklessness. Guys that call plays, pull triggers, without thinking it through, without logic, is a reckless thing to do. And logic without courage is paralysis. Okay? We got to split that difference and sit there in the middle. Okay? So I want you guys to ask yourselves this question today. Think about this. Ask yourself this question. What are you avoiding? Where are you avoiding a hard decision? Where are you avoiding a hard decision? Okay? Everybody's hard decision is going to be directly related to money spending. Want to hire a guy? Afraid of the money. Want to go do this thing? Afraid of the money. These hard decisions are going to come from money, mainly. There'll be other hard decisions that aren't related to that, maybe firing a person or, pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, making the call that you're supposed to make, setting up a system and dealing with people that you usually walk on eggshells when you deal with them, etc., because you didn't create that culture. The tail's wagging the dog. But where are you avoiding a hard decision? Ask yourself that question. Okay? Answer it. Answer that question. Ask it and answer it. Okay? And then we got to do it and start building momentum in that direction. Okay? Where are you overthinking instead of acting? Okay? Overthinking is just an excuse to not have to do. Okay? You guys heard of analysis paralysis? It's just, when you break it down, it's really just an internal thing and an emotional thing to just not fucking pull the trigger and call a play. Where are you overthinking instead of just acting? Okay? How about this one? Who do you need to confront? There is somebody in your business front and you haven't been. Shit, it might be you. Who do you need to confront? Got to confront it. If we don't confront it while we're recommitting today on February 23rd, we're going to have bigger problems here. We're going to have more systemic problems. Okay? Who do you need to confront in the business? Okay? And what standards need to be raised? Everybody's got standards here that need to be raised in the business. Which ones are they? Write them down. You guys are taking notes. Write this down. Don't just rely on the replay. Where are you avoiding a hard decision? Where are you overthinking instead of acting? Who do you need to confront? That's a big one. I know you guys got people you need to confront. Who do you need to confront that you haven't been? Then ask yourself, why haven't you been confronting it? And then tie it back to everything we just talked about in the beginning of this talk. Beginning of this call, let's say. Okay? And what standards need to be raised in this business? Okay? Leadership is applied courage in service of measurable results. Leadership is the application of courage in service of measurable results. That's what leadership is. Okay? It's not being liked by everybody. It's not patting people on the head, shaking everybody's hand in the morning. It's not just showing up. Showing up is 99%. Leadership is the applied courage in service of measurable results. If we're not applying our courage in service of measurable results, we are not leaders. Strip yourself from the title and ask yourself if your results will dictate your title. We can't have measurable results if we don't have a clear thinking. Right? It goes back to everything we just talked about. If we don't have a clear objective, if we don't have a clear timeline, if we're not being direct, if we're not being honest, how are we going to have measurable results? If we're just falling out of the fucking truck. Okay? It's CEO hat time, guys. CEO hat. We got to put on. So that's what leadership is. It's the applied courage. Okay? You can't ask that from your people. There is no surrogate. You can't ask your employees to fucking give you the courage. For them to do the courage. Then they might as well own the business. Okay? They need to perform their roles that you've dictated for them based on their game and what they do in your organization for you. Their role on this team. Your job's to be a leader. The application of your courage in service of measurable results. Okay? So this style of leadership's not about being harsh, it's about being clear. And that's what we lack in this world, don't we? Clarity, clear, context, understanding. Because we live in a 15-second, 30-second clip world where there's no context and clarity. Which is why I got a stupid fucking DM from this asshole who thinks I'm a left-winger. Spend 5 minutes with me. You know that's not at all the case. Being a left-winger, that's insanity. Nobody's ever indicted me for that. Except that jerk-off. Right? He's got no clarity. He listened to half a word I said, or he read one sentence in an article, and then he got fucking triggered, like the stupid Canadians yesterday that were emailing me based on the article that went out. You guys saw that in the Discord. Okay? So it's not about being harsh, it's about being clear. So let's get some clarity here, mate. Let's get some clarity on who we are, what we need to do, where we're going, what needs to be accomplished, who's accountable, who's responsible. Build the team. Performance, effectiveness, execution. It's the only way these businesses grow. They don't grow any other way. Okay, so recap. Performance over activity. Number one. Okay? Performance over activity. Guy puts a tremendous amount of activity in. You pat him on the back and say, hey man, great job, great effort. Guy puts a lot of activity in. You need to measure the progress he made and say, hey mate, you spent 12 hours today doing this thing. It should have took you 2 hours. Don't pat him on the back for the effort. You just paid for it. Focus him. What people do is they become effort whores. Oh, I put this together. It took me fucking 6 hours to do this. How many times that happened to you? Guy gives you work product and he tells you how hard it was. Because he wants a pat on the back for the effort. What he should want is an attaboy and a pat on the back for how great the fucking work product was. Because how great that work product was is going to be self-evident of the amount of effort that was required to do it. Shitty work product, I know what effort was in there. You don't have to tell me it took you. You don't have to fucking lie to me and tell me it was 6 hours. Okay? And if this is what 6 hours renders, we got a problem, bro. So maybe we need to train this person. We got to educate him. We got to bring him up to speed. Maybe he doesn't know Excel and he's clicking around and he's fucking around and it takes him 6 hours to do a goddamn... Well, that's going to be information that we need as leaders, right? To give that person a tool to make him more effective. So it's not an effort deal. It's a performance deal. Performance over activity. Culture of candor. Culture of straight dealing people. Okay? Because if we don't have that, we're going to have deception. We're going to have subterfuge. We're not going to have clarity, which means we're not going to be able to land this plane in the destination that we're trying to land it because we don't even know where the fuck we're flying. Next recap. Plan with measurable outcomes. We can't have a plan unless we have measurable outcomes. We have to agree on what victory looks like, what needs to be done, and in the timeline that needs to be done. That's a plan. Okay? Telling people what we think needs to be done, what we want to be done, with no accountability baked in, with no timeline, with no measurable outcome, is just an idea. It's not a plan. It's just an idea. It's something you hope could happen. Okay? That's not a strategy, guys. Plan with measurable outcomes. Number 4, kill the deception. Okay? We're not going to lie to each other in this organization. Okay? You're going to be upfront about me. There's too much risk and money on the line. I'm not going to beat you up, not going to punish you. I'm here to help you. And I'm going to make you better. We're going to make all of ourselves better together. You're going to kill the deception. People will start telling you the truth about their abilities, about the screw-ups they made, about what's really going on, etc. And you're going to come in with a solution and help them. Because it only helps you. Harboring resentment against these people and beating them up doesn't add any money to this business. It only hurts this business. Okay? You got a guy who needs to be forward-facing with clients and cannot get words out of his mouth. You are not doing yourself or him any favors by lying to him and keeping that man in a front-facing position to talk to customers. You got marbles in your mouth, bro. You are not well-spoken. You cannot fucking articulate. Can't put you in front of a client, mate. Okay? That's the honesty. The straight talking that has to be done. And you got to stop fucking lying to yourself. I'm using that example because it's just so easy to understand and, retarded. I don't think anybody has that going on, but you know what I mean. Okay? And next, leadership, right? So act with courage and logic. We want to split the difference, right? We want to act with courage and logic. Okay? So for each of you guys, what standards are you lowering right now in the business that you should not be lowering, that you're accepting? What standards are you lowering that you're accepting? Where are you tolerating mediocrity in this organization? And what result are you avoiding measuring right now? Okay? I ask you guys these questions all the time at Power Hour. I really want you to ask yourself those questions and answer them. Because these are going to be your best consultant. Because you have an opportunity to be honest with yourself in your head and on a piece of paper that nobody else gets to see. And it's only going to benefit you for what you're looking to do. All right? Nice managers are going to create comfortable mediocrity. That's what happens with nice people all the time. Okay? But results-driven, tough-minded management and leaders are going to create results. Okay, that's what I got for you guys this morning. Almost right on time. Look at that. Like a pro. Any questions, mate?
All of this rings true with me. I definitely know where I've avoided confrontation, with myself and with people on my team. Not letting go of low performers soon enough, and it just kind of creates this, hey, we accept mediocrity.
Yeah.
Instead of just saying, bro, I don't know, it's been like a few weeks you haven't done, and we're having over and over again, and at the sake of being nice,
yeah,
hey, I believe in this guy, maybe he'll turn around, or whatever, and tough-minded leaders, it doesn't feel good, but those guys are, if you stay around them, you're gonna make money. And that's how I've seen, they will push you to do things you don't want to do to get the results that you want.
Yeah. There's a song, A King of Wishful Thinking. Yeah, that's you, motherfucker. Listen, it's even more glaring in your business because your business is purely performance. Right? It's purely, they can't hide being an accountant or in bookkeeping or in accounting and I'm working on this project, I'll have it done tomorrow or whatever. Your business is the bullets flying all day, every day. Purely performance driven. Cut the fat as soon as you can. And because because your people are going to see that you're willing to accept low performance, and then that's going to be a cancer. It's going to be a cancer to you. Sales organizations are pure performance. Wash them as fast as you can. Because it's just going to, it's a cancer. It'll kill everybody else. Okay? And like you said, when you're around people that think this way, they push you to do things and be greater. And that's how life works. Every single person has been pushed in their life to do the things that they're supposed to do. Okay? You were pushed and forced to brush your teeth. Every male on this call was forced as a kid to brush his teeth. That was not on your agenda in the morning, and it was not on your agenda when you're going to bed. Your parents forced you to do it. They forced you to go to school. If it was up to you, you would have never got on the bus to go to school, would you? I wouldn't have. Okay? The pressure. You did your homework on the bus. You had your friends and you're cheating with your friends. I'm not holding it against you. It's true. It's the story of everybody. Okay? The guys who didn't do that are the exception. They sit when they pee, probably. Especially the toothbrushing people. Okay? When they were little kids. You were forced to do everything. And that forcing made you better. It built discipline, instilled appropriate habits in you, which is why parents need to parent kids, not manage them. They need to control and direct them because it makes the kid better than negotiating with the kid. Right? Ronnie, you negotiate with that kid over there? Hell no. That's your kid. You direct him, you tell him, you lead him, and you get the most out of him, right? You're making him better because of that. Okay, you have an honest conversation with him, etc., etc. It's the same thing. You're the father of a business, and that's never going to stop as long as you're carrying that title. All right. Anybody else? You guys gonna do what I said here today? You gonna start implementing some of it? Okay? It's only gonna benefit you, mate. It's not gonna kill you. It's not gonna... Not confronting the stuff is gonna kill you. Okay? You'll be at the bar. I used to own a business. That's what's gonna happen. For everybody here, right? If we don't do what we're supposed to do. Okay? This could be the best week of our business life, Monday, February 23rd. This is an opportunity to be somebody that you weren't last week, to be somebody that you weren't last year, to be the person that you can be proud of. Today is that shot. I want you to recommit to that. We've all made mistakes and screwed up. It's over, mate. You paid the bill for it. Okay? Let's sit down at a new table today. What do you say? Who's with me on that? Let's build some momentum and compound off some wins here. That's how we're going to scale, right? All right. Anybody else open forum before we jet? I started a few minutes late, so give you guys a couple more minutes here. All right. You guys look like you're ready for war. All right, guys. Great seeing you this morning. Appreciate you being here. Respect your time. Let's get back to work. I'll see you guys in the Discord. Thank you very much. Okay, there we are. You had an inside peek, a power hour every day. Monday through Friday.